Okay, it's time for our last exercise for leg day, and that's lower abdominals. Remember, training the abdominals does not necessarily burn fat off that area. It's a fairly small muscle group. It's not going to do all that much to raise the metabolism. All of your leg training for this workout, like squats and leg extensions and leg curls, have done much more to raise the metabolism and to burn body fat. Remember, that extra muscle tissue is what's responsible for getting fat off the entire body. Actually, squats and leg extensions probably have more impact in burning fat off the lower abs than this exercise we're about to do. Conveniently, I have a subject. Robin has been nice enough to volunteer here. It's a lot easier than doing it myself. Go ahead and bring your knees up here, Robin. Feet down. There's a few different ways I want to show you to train the lower abdominals safely. Remember, leg lifts, anything where your feet are out far away from you and you're arching your lower back, works the hip flexors. It really doesn't put much emphasis on the abs. And what we're trying to do is basically rotate the pelvis bone to the sternum. So when you did upper abs, you pulled down, you went sternum to pelvis. That worked more the upper abs. When you do lower abs, you're bringing the pelvis to the sternum. It's the opposite direction. And you can't help but work upper when you work lower. I mean, they do kind of contract together, but this does help isolate it. And I find if I work abs, if I split them up, at least do a little bit of my abdominal region each and every workout, it really helps you focus a little bit more on diet and just kind of stay back into your entire routine. Helps you keep accountable on dietary principles and cardio, and just keeps your whole program in check. This is probably the most basic way to work lower abdominals. All you're going to do, keep your hands down like this, and just bring your knees back towards your chest. All you're doing is a rotation of the hips, just a little bit, and then back down, tapping your toes to the table or the mat if you're on the floor, just like that. Now, this motion, go ahead and bring your feet up for a second. This motion right here, anything past this is more hip flexor. It's not really getting the abdominal muscles all that much. So you really don't want your knees to go that much further than this, like a 45-degree angle at most. So what I tell people is to touch your toes, tap your toes down to the table, and then rock back. So by doing this, if you tapped anything other than your toes, like your entire foot or your heel, you'd be tempted to go further away. You'd keep your feet farther away from your body. You can feel your back start to arch. And slowly back down, just like that. So that's the first basic exercise for lower abdominal training. Now, Robin here is a mother of two twins, so she's in phenomenal shape considering, or even not, right? But we're gonna do a little bit more advanced principle here. You're gonna bring your knees back to your chest, and now rotate, pushing your fingers into the table, so your hips actually are gonna rise off the table a little bit, and then back down, tap your toes. So dig your fingernails, dig your ends of your finger, just like that. This is actually a much more direct exercise for the lower abdominal muscles because the hips are coming up. You want to breathe out while you exhale. Breathe out on the way up, slowly down, tap the toes. All the way back, hold it. Feel a little tougher, right? Or you can just go until the hips just touch and then go right back. This involves really no hip flexors whatsoever. Okay, take a little break. So that's one exercise for the lower abdominals. You probably already felt it a little bit. Feel free to push in there, dig in with your fingers and get some leverage because you're going to tend to tilt towards your lower body. You want to push against it. Now you could do this with your hands behind your head or on your chest and do an upper body crunch at the same time, but we're trying to basically segment the body parts, segment the abdominals into different regions. Upper abs one day, lower abs another, obliques another. Okay, one way of providing resistance on your lower abs is to cross one foot over your knee, just like that, okay? Now the tightness of your glute muscle, the gluteus maximus, medius, and minimus, back behind your right hip is actually gonna provide a little resistance. So now when you do the same exercise, go down and tap your toe, this ankle, this right ankle is actually pushing against the left knee, so it provides a lot of resistance. These are very, very tough. You keep going until I'm done talking, okay? Now, just like I mentioned before, when you're training obliques, if you're training one side, you don't want to do the same side every day first. So some days you're going to train your left side first. Some days you're going to keep going, train your right side first, and alternate. You could do like 5 one way, 5 another way, back and forth, and slowly down. That's good. That's good. Do you feel this a little bit? Yeah. Don't forget to do the other side, and you can rest a little bit in between. That's a full set. You're going to go to the point of probably close to failure. So you want to take a break in between and recover, and then go ahead and do the other side. Do a few just to check form. Now remember, if you keep your foot close to your body and only tap your toe, you're not going to use your hip flexor. If the foot comes away from your body, back down like this leg, the right leg in this case, goes more than 45-degree angle, and you start to feel a little bit of an arch in your lower back. So be very careful just to tap your toe on the way back down. You don't have to think about anything else other than tapping your toes. Bring it back, try to get a little bit of a pause, rock your hips if you can, if your back doesn't bother you at all when you do this, and down. That's good. So some days do one leg first, some days do the other leg first, but make sure you get them both. Okay, a little bit more advanced exercise now for lower abdominals, and there's a lot of different things you can do. You can do aboriginal straps, you can do hanging knee lifts, and there's a wide variety of exercises. I'm trying to show you some safe ones that will accommodate most people regardless of their current state of health. Okay, this is going to be a modified leg lift. We're not going to do a leg lift going all the way to the ground because that involves the hip flexors and arches the lower back. So what I want you to do, Robin, is place your feet up like this and bring them down to my hand right here. That's about as far as you ever want to go this direction. Anything beyond that, you can feel your back start to arch. So right to there, that's a safe position. So feet right to my hand here. Go ahead and bring your feet back to my hand there, just like that. So basically that's the range of motion. Now if you get a little pause here in the fully contracted position, it's better and it's harder. Hold it and then slowly back down. Breathing out while you contract concentrically. Breathe out, slowly back down. With abdominal training, we're still trying to fatigue the muscle within 15 repetitions or so. So in order to do that, you have to move very slowly when you're doing this. You can go a little bit lower down here. Okay. Now, if you want to do any more of a range of motion without injuring the lower back, you may want to provide a little support to your lower back with your hands. Bring your feet down for a second. Put your hands in fists, and you're actually going to sit on the back of your wrists. Okay, hands apart just a little bit, and hands are going to be this direction. So you're actually going to make like a little bit of a divot or a pocket in the back of your wrist just to provide a little lower back support. Your glutes are going to kind of sit in there, your hip bones. Now bring your feet back up. Might feel a little bit better. Okay, do the same thing. You might be able to go a little further down without your lower back arching. And you can come back a little farther this way if you want, as long as your lower back doesn't bother you. Or, a little bit more difficult here, we're going to go like this into 4 stages. Up, and then try to push your feet up towards the ceiling, down, and down. So it's like a 4-stage movement. Up, down, down. That's the exercise. Up, up, good. Hold on one second. If your legs are straight in this position and you go down, that's much more hip flexor involvement. So you always want to have your knees slightly bent in this position. Okay, try a few on your own. And try to get that pause at the top. Breathing out. It's supposed to be hard. You're only supposed to do less than these, less than this many. So that's a more advanced way of doing this. Bend your knees. I almost said elbows. Back down, and that's it for lower abdominal training. Start maybe with the first rock backs. You can remove your hands if you like. Start with the rock backs. Maybe progress to the one leg over the knee, one ankle over the knee, and then use this as a more advanced training principle. That's it for lower abs. You finished leg day, and congratulations. We're going on to the next day, pull day.